got out to play this weekend. We had a super low score for the PGA Tour, lots of work, and we're going to talk about fitting. So let's get after it on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, 6-time top 100 best club fitters with Golf Digest and the last International Club Maker of the Year. Now, why is it What's in My Drawers? Is because old folks or old club makers are tremendous pack rats, and we talked about stuff I was finding in the drawers in my shop, and it's turned into a really cool discussion about golf equipment, golf opinions, golf repairs. You name it, if it's in the golf realm, we'll talk about it. And we're talking to folks from around the world. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've kind of grown it over the year. So let's keep going. If you would, we'll just start it now. If you would, hit that bell down below, subscribe, and that way you get more of the videos when they drop. If you're not much into that, I also have an Instagram channel and Facebook and and Twitter. Facebook is McGolf Custom Clubs. Twitter and Instagram are IA McGolf, or I condensed it together that I am McGolf. And you get to see, particularly on Instagram, I do 15 and 30-second reels, and it's just pictures of the stuff that I do, and it's set to music. And I think it's just a little bit of fun to do, and we go from there. All right. So on the PGA Tour, Schauffele and Cantlay, right? Absolutely took it to the folks. New low score, some gross number low. That was awesome. I think that's kind of a treat for the pros when they get to go down to New Orleans and play a team kind of competition. It kind of breaks the monotony, I think, and that's a good thing. I like it. I think they did. I mean, obviously they won, so that's cool. And apparently they get belts. And that would be even, as teeny round as they are, the tournament's not losing money. All righty, so we got that one out of the way. So some of the stuff we got going on today or this week, and again, I didn't take all the pictures, but man, oh man, have we been busy. Robin's been cracking the whip and making us get stuff out. So here's some. Let's see what we got. Yep, here's one. This was a local set from a 16-year-old boy that came through. And this kid was all skin and bones and just swings with every ounce of meat that he's got. And he don't have very much. And he just loves golf. So this hopefully will serve him well and get him back to, he was number 2 last year. Hopefully we'll get him to number 1 this year. Wilson D9s. Wilson D9s are, they're going out hot and furious, right? And I do like them. I like their shape. A lot of people are digging on them. And yeah, we have at least 5 sets going out. Charlie, yours is coming. You should land tomorrow. So hopefully it works out very well. That's the second. What you saw there is the second one, and they're on my rack to get finished to go out shortly. And you're like, well, Jim, you just did a review, and so you're pushing them. Well, yes, I did do a review, and no, I'm not pushing them. What I will do is, as part of our fitting process, we will talk about the category of iron that would work, i.e. player's distance. And we look at the preferences of the golfer. And if they like a forged iron or, get into that category, then we will hit all 3 or all 4, depending on where we go, and on the make of the shaft. And so far, Wilson's obviously won out 4 of the 5 times. Charlie already knew what he liked, but the other 4, they won out. So it's a good product, and they're doing very, very well with it. So good for them, good for us, good for the golfer. And here's another set. This was the 10 club set, and these are the Mizuno Pros, I believe. With some, you get to see the Cleveland. We can build some Cleveland stuff if necessary, along with the Srixons, and that turned out really well. We put in, those had Nippon 1150, so that's kind of a different one. It should be at that 115 range, and a little bit lower. So, like I said, not all numbers correspond to the weight, but we got those out, and those work good. So the only thing I didn't really, there they are again. The only thing that came out with these, so we're going to talk about fittings and swing weight again, and there's the grips for both of them. Alrighty, so we get a lot of these. I get a lot of requests for a specific swing weight, and I know I've talked about this once before, but it keeps becoming a topic, so we're going to keep talking about it. And I have to have this D2 with these particular setups. And can they be obtained? In a lot of cases, the answer is yes. Yes, they can. There are some, and it's a growing percentage, to be honest, that we cannot, because the grips are too heavy, the shafts are too light, and without some serious removal of metal, which would just basically ruin the design in the head, getting to or adding some gross number of weight, it's going to change the swing weight, or it won't get to the swing weight. Now, that brings up the next thing. Well, if it doesn't bring up the swing weight, then why do it? Because swing weight is a feel issue, right? And if you start out like we've talked before, everything equals the standard weight shaft, standard weight grip, standard weight head, and we start messing with it, the expectation should be that, yeah, it's going to feel a little bit different. Now, if you're a person that just happens to have to have that particular weight, which I had a young man in here from Illinois on Saturday, and he was. But to get to the particular weight, and I've done this before for other people on the opposite end of it, where they had to have this weight, and once I got them that weight, they felt it was too heavy. And I don't think it is a hard and fast rule just yet, but coming from a lot of these fittings, you'll see where people, when they get the lighter shaft in a club, that the head automatically feels heavier. I don't know if you guys maybe have experienced that or not, but when you'll grab a club of the same make and model with the standard weight, and you pick up something light, and you go, wow, this is pretty light, and then you bring it down, you go, oh, there's a lot of head weight there. Well, all you've done is you've moved the balance. Okay, that's the easiest way for me to describe it, and such that you probably will feel more head weight. Now, again, is that a hard and fast rule? The answer is no. But in a lot of cases, that's what happens. And when I hand them back, and this happens quite a bit, when I hand them back the club or the golf club that has the standard weight shaft, they'll say that the head feels light. All right. So what I'm trying to get when we build these anymore is that, they say, oh, I really like this D2. Got it. Well, you've given me a lighter weight shaft and you're putting a jumbo grip on the end of it. Now I've got to add all this extra weight just to get to a D2, and we're getting to the point where, yeah, you can impact the way that the club is going to work. Now, does that mean I don't add any weight? No, you do add some weight so you can obtain that feel. And that's what here is in the last couple of builds I've had to do, because I just know it, that it will be a ridiculous weight, and nobody's going to like it, because you've utterly destroyed the whole reason for having a lightweight shaft when you put all that weight back in it. All right, here's my soapbox. Now for the last bit of it, while we were making all those golf clubs over the weekend, and particularly Sunday, and I did get to go out, we'll talk about that in a minute, no good weekend would be done without some barbecue. Right, got to have some barbecue. And that one, oh, and I got to sneeze. Pardon me. A good barbecue right there. And what that was this time around, that was pork loin. One was a regular pork loin. The other one was a bacon wrapped pork loin. Both of them were barbecued, and both of them turned out pretty good. I'm kind of happy with them. At least one of the neighbors thought so. All righty. So we got through that one. Hoorah. All right. Let me get to another good spot. Let me get right out of that one. So, playing golf. I got out to play some golf for the first time in Ohio this year. Yeah, it's been a while. Now, of course, we've been to the went on vacation with Rob, and I went with Bob and Penny, and and then we had a round in the other one. And this is just the first round, and it was 80 degrees. Man, it was just perfect out there. Took Dad with me, and we got out there. So the first round, and of course now I got the brand new square shoes, which we'll talk about. I got a brand new set of irons in there just because I wanted to try them out. A brand new wedge, and I wanted to take out a another putter just to see what it looked like. So the only and new hybrid. So the only thing old in my bag at old is the new driver. That guy, right? Everything else is new, and a new golf ball. So I was like, oh my God, it's either going to be horrendous or uh, it's going to be awesome. Well, it was a tale of two sides because the first half of it was horrendous. I shot a 46, and I didn't lose anything left or right per se, as so much as I was front to back. Uh, so let's start off the story. I'm loading my clubs into my truck, and as I place the bag in there, my A wedge falls between the crack of the tailgate and the bed. Normally I just put it all in the bed, but this time something was in the way, so I sat it right there, was moving around, and as I shoved it into it, it hooked and I snapped the head clean off. So my brand spanking new A wedge is still a brand spanking new A wedge, only it's in two pieces. So I got to work that one out. I'm toasting my A wedge. All right. So we get out there, and it's just misses. I actually putted what I would think pretty decent. Bob and the company up there at JC's is really doing a good job with their faster greens. The rough is thicker. The fairways are nicer. I mean, it's turned into a really nice course. Anyway, I got around to the last one in the back, and it almost like I was fighting my shoes a little bit because they were just so stable. I wasn't used to it. And then on the last one, I just decided to let him swing. Oh boy, that was a whole different story. So got around to the back nine, and the very first hole is a 190-yard par three, and and I was playing the blues, by the way, and I took one out, and I actually drew one, and I started off one side and the other two putt par, and that just started me on a tear for a 39 on the back. I actually birdied the last two holes too, so and had a handful of drives that were pretty impressive, I have to say. But the couple of things, the irons played very, very well. Uh, when you miss them, I got away with one, and I just totally missed the damn thing, and it still rolled out to like 175. So yeah, I mean, I just kept feeling like I kept getting away with stuff, and so it was really neat to be able to play with that level of confidence. The last bit is in the golf ball, where we talk about if you watch the Chrome Soft or the Chrome Soft XLS, that they say that the ball goes a little further. They're not lying. All right, it does. It goes a little bit further, and so I fully back on that one. I also got to take the Wilson staff out, and that thing hits a ton. It absolutely hits a ton. I could recommend either one without any reservation. So there it is. That's getting it all out there. Hopefully we get out there and get out there again on a Sunday and just turn it around. There was just so much. I did some filming for the very first time on a golf course. That was kind of freakish. And the more we do this, I think the more those things will get better. I just wanted to see what it would be about. All right, let's get started. Matt, no rounds, was in Memphis. Woohoo! Oh, they won their championship. That's great. All right. So that's pretty cool. Tell them congratulations from us. We're happy that you guys did really, really well. Games I play with my pals. I am one of the most boring golfers, Matt. I don't. We just don't. We get out there, and Bob and I, we just go out there and we just play. We play to be playing. Now we make good fun of each other and congratulate each other the whole 9 yards we have, and we get mad. And, we go through the whole gambit. But we just don't play games. We don't bet this. We don't do that or anything. Now, every once in a while, we'll have a who can chip closer, but that's just when we're jacking around. And 90 times out of 10, if we're outside 40 foot and it's a putt, he wins. So unfortunately, I'm just not. We just go out there and we just have a good time golfing. I don't know if that's boring or not, but that's just what we do. There's Krister. What do you say, sir? Hope you and Robin are well. Course starting to open. Yay! Uh-oh, and your home course hasn't. Well, hopefully get there. Did a shaft fitting. Uh-oh. Did a test on the caliber. Oh, the rapid taper. An R and S. Well, I don't see you hitting an R very well, but the S, yeah. End up with a Shimada Light 102, got 6 more mile-an-hour ball speed. Well, there you go. Boy, oh boy, Krister, that's a whole lot different than what you're used to. I'm glad it's working. The Shimada's no joke shaft. It's a good little shaft. Good for you. All right. I left the 7-iron at the workshop to get reshafted with a Shimada. I go back to work on Friday for an MOI fitting. Yeah, let me know how that one works out. That sounds like that would be a lot of fun. That'd be good. I got an email. It must be a thing in Sweden. I got an email from another guy in Sweden asking me about whether or not I can recondition a set of I think they were McGregor's, and the rechroming and all that stuff, which I can't do. That's just an industrial process that I don't do around here. In fact, you have to go to other places. And then he asked about doing some reshafts. So I had to let him know what we can and cannot do. But it was kind of cool. Another one from Sweden. Brendan, sir, how are you? And from Ireland, thank you for staying up. I see you got new Callaway clubs in your bag. Yeah. Oh, look at that. There, Brendan is being the proverbial straight man. So I'm trying it out. So you see that one. I got the Rogue driver. I have the Rogue driver with the graphite design XC shaft to keep things low. And I didn't know how it would react here. When we were on the coast, it really helped because it did keep things low, almost to the point it might have been too low. So I thought about it around here, and I think it's just right. The altitude change did me some good. I just really got around it, and I got to say the swing was a little bit better. Finding more of the middle of the club face really helps, and you don't have to go kill it. And I know if Bob's listening or not, but on 18, and I have a video of it somewhere. Anyway, on 18, it is a dog leg left, except for it goes out this way and then it turns and it goes left. However, the first 150 to 200 yards easy is all lake. All right, so you got to be able to carry a whole bunch. And there's a sand trap and then a tree, and that tree is basically where you mark it. You either go over it or to the left as you're looking at it. If you can clear it and get into the fairway, you're basically going to have a pitch onto a green, and it's a 300 and what is it? 355. I think it's 355. Yeah. Anyway, it's 355, and there's a whole lot of fairway going one way, but you got to clear a whole bunch of water to get there. And from there, the last shot, I just took a nice easy swing, got through it, and I paced it off. I was just shy of 40 yards from the hole. So, and right in the middle of the fairway. I've never done that before. So that was a lot of fun. Epic hybrids. I did some of the super hybrids. I did some testing earlier on last year when they came out, and I carried the 4, I think is what I was carrying. Anyway, the 4 of the 3, and it was kind of on again, off again, and again with some swing changes. I was hitting them, and I was hitting them well. I was pulling them a little bit, and that's more me just turning to the inside, but I was pulling them. And at one shot, I got, normally my 2 is good for about 230, 240 off the deck. And yesterday, I was 250 out, and I put it over a green. So it landed right where I wanted to land, and it just kept rolling. So I got to kind of work that one out. The other one is the Rogue ST Pros. I should do a what's in my bag. Rogue ST Pros with the Rifle 105. I did the testing, and you saw where I did pretty good with those, and I just wanted to test them out. So I only go up to the 6-iron though. Only go up to the 6-iron, and I go down into the gap wedge, and then we're trying out some new wedges. I got the full toes, and we're trying those. I still think I like the full toes. I like the way they feel. To me, they feel soft, and I like the way that they get up in the air. Um, However, there's like a grind option for a lefty, and I think the grind option for the Wilsons is better for me. So we're going to kind of work on that. And then I toyed around with the Tri Hot double wide, and the Tri Hot double wide, and it's a very stable putter, I'll have to say, and it putted very, very well. So that's the bag. But we'll go over it more on another video. But thanks for asking. Emmanuel, good evening, Jim and Robin, and the McGolf groupies. After I reshafted my pro irons, I hired him for a swing tune-up. Oh, reshafted my pros irons, hired him for a swing tune-up. It was like bringing your car in for an oil change and coming out $800 later. Good, good, good. That's it right there. There's Ashley. How are you, sir? Great job on the PXGs. Thank you. Also managed to hit a few balls with the 5-iron, and they were awesome. Well, there you go. Thank you so very much. I'm glad you like them. Willard's in the house. Hopefully you're doing good. Today's been a good day, Willard. Hopefully Northern End is doing as well. Mr. Charlie, how are you, sir? Levitt 14 in the McGolf. There it is. So we have another one. And Robin has told me that your packages should arrive tomorrow. There's Redemption. What do you say, buddy? All righty. Let's get down here. Danny's talking to us. Matt. I'm glad he did good. Daryl Carpenter, Chesterfield, England. Wow. Daryl, thank you for staying up again. All righty. Have you tested Rapport Core blue shafts? I have not, sir. The Rapport folks are, I do know about Rapport. We used to carry them way back in the day, but I don't know anything about the blue core. The guys that know, so for all you don't know, Rapport makes graphite shafts by filament winding, and they're probably the biggest manufacturer of the filament wound shaft. Now, the filament wound shaft gets kind of a bad rap for being harsh, but the side note to that is that it is very stable, or very concentric. There's not a lot going on with it. Everything about it is there. It's just that the feel was a little harsh. Now, that was back in the day. Now they have the Pedersen shafts. Those guys are doing the same thing. They're from Rapport helps make those. I believe it's a bit of a hybrid model, so they don't feel as bad. I've hit some of the single links, and they feel fine. Right now, I don't think they have. Yeah, and that's just the one model. I don't think that they have like the whip that some of the more flexible shafts would have. But if you're a loader of the shaft and looking for something a little bit more stout but lighter, these guys would be the way to go. Chesterfield. That sounds familiar. I think there was a Arini was from there. I think that's where that was from. No, that was Cheltenham. That's what it was. Sorry. Danny Johnson. Good afternoon, sir. Michael Barber from the UK. Well, thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for sticking around. Dennis Hood, how are you, sir? There's PZ, sorry. Everybody's in today. Nice. And they said, and you drove. And you just need to say, Matt, and wouldn't you? Rainy Michigan. Dave, what's up with that? Maybe you're getting the weather that we're supposed to get. Right now, if you kind of look behind me, it's kind of dingy back here, and we're expecting some rain late night, and that's what's going to bring in some cooler temperatures. John Harpole, how are you, sir? All righty. Do you recall how close all of the components weighed out at? Uh, as a matter of fact, I can't tell you exactly, but uh, I pulled out your previous spec sheet, and it is absolutely scary how close they are. I mean, they're within, I made note of that when I was talking to Robin about measuring all these because I made a new spreadsheet or new spec sheet for you, and there was nothing off more than a gram or two. And most of them were just like at 1 gram. So if one club weighed out at 467, the other one was at 466. If a head weight was 256, it might have been 257 or 255. I mean, the consistency was absolutely scary. And yeah, but it was very, very cool. So and here as of late, with these, which take me into another topic, but there's been there for a while. A lot of people were expressing their concern. That was political, by the way, uh, about some build qualities from bigger companies, and and that is a concern to be sure. My concern here is: are the components weighing where I need them to weigh, or am I getting what I need when I get them? And for instance, uh, Golf Pride does a very, very good job. They're normally within a gram one way or to another, and that's awesome. We're using some other companies, and their tolerances aren't as tight. Will it impact it? No, but it's just really, it's easy to work with a quality product. I will say, like Nippon, um, we did the Modus. I did one set of what I showed you, one of those two sets that, because they're all supposed to be the same weight, right? At 105, 115, whatever. And I had one set that was less than 1 gram separate from all the rest. I mean, it was amazing how constant it was. And then using the Wilson as an example, the Wilson heads and some of the Mizuno, well, and some of the Srixon, they're not all the same, but they had I look for a 6 to 7 gram gap between them, and I'm looking, and I got my plus or minuses, and every last one of those companies hit every last one of those marks, save one, and it was on a gap wedge, and the gap wedge came out heavy, and so, and the funny part is that's not a bad thing. You can either correct it by keeping it the same length as a pitching wedge, which we used to do all the time, or if it comes out light, you can add a little bit of weight, make it the 1/4 inch shorter, and it's just like it's prescribed. So, I mean, we do all those checks. We do all the head weight checks, all the shaft weight checks, all the grip weight checks. Then we do all the spinning and the flowing. We make sure it's all aligned that way. And then the frequencies or the flexes are what we need to get. And so far, I haven't had to arm wrestle too much. It's just actually obtaining a particular spec is what's been a real trial. So very cool. But yes. All right. You wouldn't be wrong, bud. It depends. That's the best golf answer on the planet. But yeah, what. So what he's alluding to is like a Wilson standard is different than a Mizuno standard, is different a Srixon standard, different a Callaway, different a Titleist, and all these other things. There are certain premises that are made, and because of design concepts on certain particular components. But outside of that, well, the thing is, what we do is we could say, when we're talking about swing weight, there are certain things that when they made the original swing weight, they did assume a 120 gram shaft, like a 256 gram 5-iron and a 45 gram grip. And those were assumed. Those were in order to have your standard, whatever that was, because swing weight was the only standard at the time. And then now we have so many options to choose from. It's not even funny. And that's a good thing. All right, Danny wants to know, if I was to install a Jumbo Golf Pride Tour wrap on my driver, can I put one wrap under the bottom hand not to have taper? Yes. Yeah. Now I will say this on a lot of the Golf Pride Jumbos type stuff, except for maybe say the 2Gs and maybe on the Tour Velvets. But as they add more stuff for jumbo, they get less taper and more straight. And on jumbos, it's more prevalent that they're much wider at the bottom hand in ratio to the top. Now, can you add another round and get really close? The answer is yes, and that's the reason why. Otherwise, I would tell you to put more. Jason Blevins, I was shocked at how much I could feel the head with the lighter shafts, but I don't care about the numbers. I just want it to work. There you go, Jason. Thank you, sir. Jason, a yum. And they were, bud. They were. I'm telling you what, I put a lot of props with this Rectech smoker, this pellet smoker. It's in the fact that they've got the little temperature probe so you can check things. Man, oh man, that makes cooking just so much easier. Look at Mrs. McGough getting in there and answering that question. Good for her. Yes, Dave. Hey, Jim. My golf buddy has a 98 mile an hour swing speed with the driver and has an over the top swing. Will a 70 gramish regular flex help stop his path out a little? Oh, wow. Yeah. That's going to take a little bit. Okay. So 98 mile an hour with, all right, Dave. So here it goes. 98 mile an hour with a driver. You are about this far away from the stiff range. Okay. This far away. So if this guy's coming over the top and he's just, he's just all kinds of that, he might find that if he's playing army golf with a regular flex shaft, is that he's torquing it so much that it's not staying with him. Now, I don't mean go get an X flex shaft, but I mean something that plays into the bottom end of the stiff range might be a better game call. Okay, the over the top in the predominant amount of cases of reason why a guy is over the top. Number one, the club is too long. Okay. Number one, the club is too long. So first and foremost, what I do is I'd have him choke down, just have him grab down about just for the sake of doing it, just wherever he's comfortable, say, just tell him, hey, choke down about an inch and see what he does. Choke down about an inch and have him hit 10 or 20 golf balls and see if that doesn't put him in a posture that he doesn't feel like he's got to throw over the top. The other one is that the club is actually heavy. All right. So that you feel that you've got to push up and push around in order to get it. So a lighter club in some cases might actually help as well, or a combination of the both. Now, if the guy is very aggressive, like we talked before, then yes, the 70 gram would tend to help, because the over the tops, as we're talking right here, also the over the top also that's the outside in that creates the cross, and that creates the cut, and that creates the slice, and the whole 9 yards, or the dramatic pull, right, where they finally square it up. And that a lot of cases is a lot of stuff can be worked out with the length of the club and posture, and knowing that it goes out that direction. Now, if it's a medical issue, okay, good. But I would take into account most everybody could stand to use a slightly shorter club. And so I would go with that one first. Then I would start looking to see whether or not they have a the proper weight. All right, the total weight. That's important as well. So they don't feel like they've got to throw it across, that kind of thing. And then the last bit is you want to check the design of the club. If you've got something that's an open face club, and it's open face, and you're coming across and you tend to keep it open, that's just going to promote it. Maybe something a little bit closed, or maybe even draw bias to help get square. Yes, it'll make pulls, but it's better than something that you can't control. Or you can maybe just lead tape into the heel. You can try something like that. All right. Robin's talking to a bunch of people. All right. I bet you have a lot of neighbors show up when the barbecue's being used. Well, as you can see, that's my backyard, which is the range. And we had a couple come in there and just talk about, man, we were wondering who was cooking. We saw it was smelling real good, and we finally figured out it was you. And they started asking smoker questions. That was kind of fun. Yeah, but they know it's me though. They know it's me. There's Mr. Jack King from Lombard. How are you, sir? Jim and the scooter lady. Well, that's better than what I've been calling her, Al. I've been calling her wheelie. I've been calling her flipper. I've been calling her all, three wheel, all that stuff. But I will say, today she just knocked it clean out of the park. She did. She was awesome. We've got some uh, target nets that are 5x5 or 10x10, and each year we put new pool noodles on them. And the only reason why we do that is so that it defines the outline. So when you're really, it focuses your intention to get inside the target. And she got them today. We got them from Amazon, and she went out there in her one wheel and limping around and put them all on there and got them done. They look really good. So she's been feeling pretty good about this foot thing. And basically as of yesterday, she's just gotten really a lot more mobile, which is good to see, because I really hated to see her limping around. And but it's gotten better, and it's getting better, so that's a good thing. Yeah, that sandal, that's the flipper. Sunny V. All right, courses are opening, but the ground is still wet. Yeah, we lived that for last month. You guys are just behind us a little bit. So most club carts aren't. Yeah, yep. Jack, love the 3 mil that you put together. I'm 7 years old and I'm hitting it around two. Wow, Jack, nice. Glad that you liked it, buddy. Good job for you. You picked it out, man. I just put them together. Here we go, Ryan Palmentera. How are you? Wow, Geauga County. Thanks. All right. Well, glad you're here, bud. If you got questions, ask away. There's Brennan. Yes, you do what's in a bag. Okay, we will. I will have to say, Brennan, is particularly in the environment that you play in, what I got, what I picked out on a grip, uh, I'm starting to see a lot of changes. We saw the new CPX grip, and it's very sticky, but it's soft, and it's a great feel. It really is. It's just too soft for me. It doesn't mean it's bad or good. It just means that it's too soft for me. That's my preference. And what I like I don't like a super hard grip like a corded grip, although the MCC4 was my favorite grip. But even with the cord, it's still not as hard as, say, like a Tour Velvet cord or a BCT or a Z grip or something along that lines. I still like dealing with the rubber, but I like it to be a little tacky, because that allows me to loosen up the grip a little bit and allow me to do what I need to do. Well, Callaway, in what they did is they sent. I'd like to show you, but I don't have it with me. They sent on some of the demos a rubber grip that I've never seen before, and So I called them and I said, "Well, what is this?" And it's the Z grip without the cord in it. It's very much along the line of what they called the Patriot grip, except for it's just all black. I thought, wow, I really, really like this one. And the Z grip without a cord, so it's a firmer rubber, but it's not hard, and that the tack or the pattern on it is got enough that it's got enough grip in it. It really works. I really like it. So that's what I had to put on all the irons. Now that I've done all that, everything comes out and then more stuff comes out after. What I'm really kind of paying attention to now is the difference between these pure and star grips. Boy, oh boy, if you're wanting a long lasting grip that has a little bit of a tack to it, these guys they're really something to consider. And you got all the colors that you can play around with, but something to consider to be sure. All right. Weston, watched your P790 KBS build yesterday. Good job explaining swing weight. Ah, thank you. That's a red chicken. Ah, very cool. All righty. Emmanuel, if I align my Callaway adapter to the pure line, should it stay true even though I change loft 1 or 2 degrees up or down? Yes or no? My opinion is yes. Yes, it will. The pure line, or what we're talking about, the flow line, right? Because you're going to find the flow. Well, you're going to find the spine, and then you're going to line it, and then because you're only turning the cogs, right? You're only turning the cogs, and you're only moving it a degree or two. So yes, my answer is yes. And that was one of the big things about this one, Emmanuel, is that uh, the adapter for Callaway is the only one I can figure that does that. So if you pure that, uh, if you pure it, then it'll stay. Whereas then if you tailor made or all the other ones, they have to turn. PXG, Ping, they all have to turn, which takes it out of its alignment. Now, to a point, Titleist has a cog that spins around. So if you didn't have to move it out of its alignment, you could use that one cog. Then in effect, you would do it the same thing there. So that's what that one is. But no, you can do that. I'm in the car waiting to take Sam to dance and you to dinner. Okay. All righty. What do we got here? Rapid tapers. Can those be hard step or soft step? Is 95 the heaviest rapid taper available? Well, X, they do come in a parallel. So yeah, you can adjust them as necessary. And yes, they can be. If there is a taper tipped model, then yes, they can. Uh, is the 90 the heaviest they got? As I understand it, I don't know if they're making a heavier one now yet or not. Peter, what do you say, buddy? Myrtle Beach, nice. Definitely got to get back. Definitely got to get back. We got a few more courses. Bob and I got a few more courses, and I'm sure Penny and Robin have a few more buckets that they need to take care of. So yeah, we need to definitely get back. Mike Jacobs, how do you learn the profiles of different driver shaft? Is there an online resource, or is this years of fitting trial and error? Thanks, love the channel. Well, thank you, Mike. Well, it's yes and yes. Without sounding really crappy, there is an online resource, and it's oh geez, I just had it. It was golf shafts something, and the guy that runs it, he and I have just got done talking. Daggone. I'll get it here in a moment. But anyway, he profiles all the shafts. It's I think it's like $5 a month or something like that. And he profiles a truckload of shafts, and there's a tremendous library in order to see what he does. And he's got a really cool little machine that does it so that you can compare them all so that you would know how they would work. That's probably the most instant resource. Now, what's happened for me, Mike, is that when I talk to the shaft manufacturers, typically what happens is that they will do an EI curve and or a more simplified version of the same, and I get those. And it's out there in a lot of cases. You'll see on some of the websites, pardon me, you'll see on some of the websites where they have those. Mitsubishi used to have a lot of them. Who else used to have them? Aldila used to have some, and there was a few others. And and then the other ones like Graphite Design, they did a very good. They made a really cool chart about butt, middle, tip, and how they, what's more stiff than the other. Right now, is it when you get it from these guys, you got to take it with a grain of salt because everybody's going to look at their equipment a little bit differently. That's why that golf shafts resource is so good in that he does the same thing to every shaft. So now you have one constant in the way it's measured, and that should help you out. Chris Foddy, what do you say, man? It's been ages. Won't stop raining here in Memphis. Then Seattle. All right. There you go, buddy. Well, it's glad to know that you're still around. It's been a while, buddy. Now, I will have to say, I did live in Washington State, and we lived on the other side across the sound from them. And although in that region it rains a lot in the number of days, but now this was the statistic when I was out there. Rob and I were out there in the Navy. The statistic was that they had by far and away the most rain days than most of the other places. However, the amount of rain that came down was actually less than what you might find in Florida. There's a little tidbit for you. How about that? Now that might change by now, but that's what we were told. And hey, good to see you're still around. Camilio, where you at this time, buddy? Did you make it back? Glad to see you. Theodore Solich, what do you say? I read somewhere that 8% of golfers don't get below an 18 handicap, so I don't feel bad about my 16.
Hey, you jumped over somebody that stayed up past his bedtime.
Uh-oh, where'd I go?
Frishushu, Fricijus from the UK. What are your thoughts on powder coating heads?
Where? I didn't see it.
These. Up above Jacobs.
Above who?
Jacobs.
Jacobs. Michael. I went to the top. I don't see him.
You missed him. Just answer the question.
What do I think about powder coating heads? Okay, well, I will ask. And thank you for staying up. And then we'll get to Theodore since Robin got in there. So we'll go back. Theodore, we got you, buddy. We'll take care of this. So powder coating heads. I'm not a big fan of powder coating irons. Just because I don't color iron heads. I'm not a fan. However, powder coating woods. Now, okay, let's keep in mind, just so we're all on the same page, what powder coating really is. Okay, powder coating is you apply an electrical charge to, let's just say it's this thing. Works really good if it's metal. Let's just say it's this. What you do is you apply an electrical charge. So you got it held on where my hand's at, and then you've got another one where you're squeezing it. The charge is in the gun, and it's got powder of whatever color you want. There is a rainbow of flavors, as many types of paints out there. There is powder coating and different styles and finishes, all kinds of stuff. It's really, really interesting. And then you squirt it, and what happens is that the differences attract, and it covers this thing evenly. It really does a good job. And then what you've got to do is you've got to figure out some way to hang this thing so it's not interfering with the powder coating. And you put it in an oven and you heat it in that, I think it's in the 200 range, it's somewhere in that area, and you let it bake. and it bakes, and with that powder turns into a liquid. The liquid becomes a solid, and it stays on there, and it becomes like you painted. The positive to that is that it is extraordinarily durable, extraordinarily durable. It's hard to manage. It's, for to make sure that you get it right exactly where you want. Of course, I'm using a much cheaper version than the professionals would use, and then the dealing with it and where you would hang it. There are some processes that basically it's like an easy bake oven. It's on a conveyor, and when it gets from one end to the other, it's made its temperature, and it comes out the other side, and it looks really nice. I mean, it's unlimited the things you can do. Now, saying that, some of those clubs are temperature sensitive, so you got to be very, very careful. Older clubs that are mostly metal, all day. Putters, yeah, all day, right? But I would go with those. But as far as something that has a level of plastic in it, no, no.
Thank you. He thanked me.
Oh, he thanked you. Okay, now what?
Do you want to read that little section?
Oh, yeah, let me take care of Theodore. Yeah. This is a request from Mrs. McGough. We've got a request in from outside in the local area. Mrs. McGough would like for me to read something after I take care of Theodore. Hey, percenter golfers, you know what? You would not be incorrect, Theodore. So what it is that when we talk about that, and that comes up in fittings about scores, and it's basically, it was 80% of the people can't break 100, right? And almost 90% can't bust 90. So if you're in that rarefied air, basically, and the numbers get smaller and smaller and longer as they go after that. And so if you can get into the lower number area, you're doing better than most of what the people in that gave those numbers that they gave those numbers. But yeah, you're right. That is just the way that it is. And and there, I could get very philosophical about that, in that, golf is hard, and it is, and I like the challenge, and you need to embrace that. It takes a lot of time. Yes, it does, particularly when you're taking about 115 swarps versus 79 swarps, right? I had my dad in tow, and it was just me. We started at around 7:30, and by a quarter after 10, I'm loading clubs. But that's one, not four. So, there's a lot of trades. For everyone I tell you, there's always going to be an example of something to the opposite. But it would be when people talk about that and they go, "Oh, it's so hard," and I said, "Look, you know, unless you're going to be a competitive golfer, the idea of golf is to enjoy it. Enjoy being out there, enjoying the competition if it's your own self or with your buddies, enjoying being around the people you're with, enjoying in the thing that you like doing, enjoying being outside, and take it from there, and enjoy trying to do better. Challenge yourself. I mean, this is just it's life's moment all wrapped around in about a 4-hour round. There, that was. I hope that wasn't too philosophical. All righty, one more dimple sphere.
Stephen from Canada
Yeah.
wanted you to show.
Oh, he wants to see his stuff?
Yes.
All right. My golly, we're getting special requests all day around here. All right. So we do the first one, and then we'll do this one. All righty. So dimple sphere. Shot an 82, two birdies, drove a 300-yard par 4, and missed for an eagle 14-footer. Tennessee is hot. Jungle hot. Yeah, I know, dude. So we, around here it was snowing a week ago. And then it got into the 50s, and then overnight it's like 80 degrees. I'm like, where in the devil did that come from? And tomorrow it's going to be 50 again. So it's just not letting go. It is just not letting go. All right, from Mrs. McGough, from a customer that came from New York. All right, I have to she wants me to read this, and here we go. All righty. All right. He talks about, says, just got back from hitting the new clubs. Honestly, I can't find the right words to express how pleased I am with them. Hit most of them even better than I did during my visit. Now, what happened is that this golfer came in from New York, and it was quite the ride. And he had seen some other fitters and saw us and decided to take a chance on us, and we're glad that he did. All right. This is especially true with the driver, which has been my biggest weakness, the Rogue ST Max to the rescue, long, high, and straight. And it's a good driver, and it worked for him. It's amazing what a fitting will do for you. All right. As we talked, I made a major commitment to improving my golf game. Now, this guy is almost 70, and you should see the guy looks like he's 50. And just in great shape. And the dude's going to go low. I really expect that he will. This included lessons, exercise, stretching, hitting 3 to 4 times a week. So decided to try once again to get properly fit. I was more than a little reluctant at first and was very disappointed with the 4 previous attempts. Well, the guy's persistent. Had different top 100 fitters, including Club Champion. Started my search high and low. And after watching McGolf YouTube, had a very high expectation. Now that's what we like, a high expectation. I want to raise that bar. Saw the knowledge and craftsmanship who's clearly committed, or should be committed, to excellence. Someone explained the fitting process in a straightforward manner, detailing the key variables and how they would be assessed, then matched to the right equipment. With Robin's help, that's the reason why Robin wanted me to read this. I got an appointment much sooner than otherwise possible, drove from upstate New York to Waverly, spent the night, got fit. Who knew a 72-year-old, 72, needed players' distance irons? The Mizuno 225s are exceptional, much less offset than the Rogue X's. Standard lie angle of instead of 2 degrees upright, added 2 inches to my putter. Sank 5 in a row. All this coupled with long straight drives. What else can you ask for? Can't say enough. You and Robin are a great team. Highly recommend anybody who is remotely thinking about getting fit. So there you go. That's a big pat on the back. But thanks to this golfer, he said, yeah, he said to read it, but not to mention his name, and that's fine. Yeah, it was a good time. And this golfer is he's devoted. He is certainly devoted, but it was amazing the differences that what happened when we put him into these different clubs for different reasons, and all of a sudden he just latched onto one. It was really good. So I'm just really glad that he did it. Good for him. All right, Mr. Steven. So he wanted to see one of his clubs. So this is where this one's going to Canada. So this is a Ping, as we can tell, a Ping I-59. Let's see if we can, there we go. I-59. We had to wait on this guy right here. We had to wait on that damn thing. That's a different, you would think that the standard Ping ferrule would be it. No, it's not. This one has one of its own, so we had to get some of those. And then we got, so look at this bad boy, the Onyx Tour Issue X100. It's a black shaft. Look at that bad boy. Isn't that cool? And then we put logo down, and we've got ourselves some BCTs. Very, very nice. And this little rocket thumper here, and these are going to Canada, by the way. We got this one, the ZX5, and it's sitting on is that upside down? The Speeder 661. Man, this is a beast. All right, metal composite X Flex, and again with the logo down. So yeah, they're ready, man. I think we're waiting on one item, and then they're ready to rock and roll. So good for you. And it's been a really cool build. They're actually turning out very, very well. I like them. All right. I think we got everybody caught up. Michael Barber, looking at a new driver, have a moderate swing speed, and thinking of a new Rogue Max. The Project X Cypher 40. Any thoughts? We just heard what this guy just said. And I'm pretty certain we came close to using the Cypher. The Rogue Max. I can't tell you. I'm really pleased with the Rogue Max. I actually have the Rogue. Mine's the LS model, but I do like the Max. It's not the matte black finish with the copper outline on the side. Just an extraordinarily good look. There's as much technology as any one golfer can accept. and to make this thing go. I really do like that one. The Cypher, and if you look at the review that we did, the Cypher itself, although it's lightweight, everybody gives it this, oh, it's flimsy because it's lightweight. No, baby, no, not on this one. This is a very, very stable, very stout shaft. Even if it is light, most everybody should be able to bring it around. And so far they have. And that's been one heck of a partnership between those two. And yes, I could do that. The only thing I would say, Michael, at this particular point is, if you're sitting on that, yeah, certainly to be tested for it. But for certain, check to make sure you have the right length and the right loft and all that other stuff as well, because that other stuff quality of hit is the big deal. And if you can get a higher quality of hit, you'll always end up doing better. All right. How do deep face drivers perform non-face deep face drivers? X is doing us some service here. The 22 seems to be more stable on mishits. Does that have anything to do with a more compact deep versus a deep face? So X, the difference between, so if you have let's use this one. We use Stevens. So let's just assume that this is a standard face, right? And in most cases, I'd say that it is. The 7, however, this is the 5, yeah. So the 7 is a little bit more oriented towards the player. And what you'll find out it is actually a little bit taller that way. And normally when it gets taller that way, you end up losing distance this way or even this way, because you got to make up for the face height. Now, when you get a higher face height, the biggest characteristic change is the center of gravity. It goes up. So when you're, here we go. So when the face, this ought to be good. Who demonstrates with a whiskey or scotch glass and a, and a build? All right. So if this is where it needs to be, right, we'll just use it like that. And what will happen is as the face gets taller, and this is where you want to be, right? Gives you the really great launch angles and all that stuff. So when it goes taller, what effectively does is it moves the center of gravity lower, right? Because what it does is it raises the center of gravity so that it gets a little higher on this golf ball, and the launch angle gets a little bit lower or more piercing, as the case may be. Some folks like the smaller head and the smaller profile in the head, and that seems to trip their trigger as well. But the biggest thing is that it gives you a little bit better projection as far as the golf ball goes. Now, from an MOI standpoint, when you lose the width or from toe to heel, the MOI goes down. So most of these taller face drivers you will find actually are geared towards a slightly better player. All right. And that's the reason why you're seeing some of these compact face drivers are more stable on mishits, because the MOI is bigger, right? The MOI is basically a 3-letter word for moment of inertia. That it means resistance to twisting. And the more compact, bigger MOI number you get means that you can mishit it and get away with more. There we go. I found an iron that is 3/8 inch short. Is this common? Was in the middle of the set. No, not that I can, Camilio, no. Now, what I have been seeing here as of late, because we measure we have been measuring a lot of different manufacturers, TaylorMade being one of the more, TaylorMade is a very popular club, and a lot of the older models have started coming through. And what we're finding is like the 4 and the 5, or the 4 and the 5, or 4, 5, and 6 have been found to be longer than what would be average. So if 38-inch 5-iron is normal, this is like 35 or 38 3/4, almost 39. And then at 36, instead of a 1/2 inch, it'll drop 3/4. And then from the 7 to the 6, it drops a 1/2. Well, I don't know. I don't know why it does that. Mostly, a lot of times when you see these things, it's so that the ball go far. And they're not. It's a rarely used club. And if you tag one, it's like, hey, it's all good. And if not, then it's just like, well, yeah, I don't hit it very much. So they can get away with that. Now, is it only TaylorMade? No, a lot of the other companies are doing the same thing. But as far as finding one that is just typically 3/8 inch short, no, not at all. All right. Krister wants to know if I heard about G-Rip ATAC grips. No, I have not. That's a new one. You always have these neat ones that I found out about. Yeah, I don't know. Camellia, I don't know. I just don't, I've not seen it. Now, now I can say that I've made sets where instead of half-inch increments, I've used 3/8 inch increments going all the way down, but it was each one was 3/8 in order so that because the length that I was working with at the top end was very short. And what I didn't want is for it to be extraordinarily short at the pitching wedge. And so instead of being like 45 degrees, it'd be more like that. And then is an easier transition. All right. Libra 9, he's back. Can you give your opinion on Mo Norman's style of swing? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so Mo Norman, he is the we'll call him the curator. He is natural golf, i.e. the one plane swing. And there's a lot, and it is very, we'll call it reliable, right? It's very reliable. We've had some folks, natural golf, one plane, whatever you want to call it, Bryson DeChambeau-ish kind of stuff. That's all in that same area. Now, Mo Norman, as of his whole, was probably one of the best ball strikers on the planet. He was also autistic, and maybe that was his thing for that. But if you listen to some of his stuff, he's not really good in front of a crowd. But he gets out there and he will tell them about golf, though. He loves golf. Anyway, so if you look at it from a single plane, single length, everything's an extension, right? You get out there and you get through. In of itself, it does make a lot of sense, but it puts you into a posture or a position that is not what you would consider normal because it's not traditionally accepted. Although now we watch Bryson DeChambeau do it, and he's doing it with a level of success. Now he's also applying this crazy amount of ball speed with it. Those two are mutually exclusive, right? You can still swing like that and not have to swing like he does in order to enjoy the game. I have seen it work a lot with people, but as in most cases, what you'll see is that their buddies rib them so hard for playing like that that they tend to give it up and go the other direction. But it does have a lot of merit. Simo, what do you say, buddy? How is it that my buddy can hit his top flight senior flex driver 310 yards? Do you think it was if he was fit with a proper modern drive, he would gain more yardage? Wow. That's a good question. I would like to think the answer to that would be at least yes. However, chances are in top flight and this senior flex driver, chances are it's probably not senior flex. All right. Now there has been instances out there where I've had some long drive guys. I mean the real long drive guys, the guys that get out there and crank it out there 340. This one guy used a regular flex club and it was pure timing. Absolute pure timing. You could see that shaft just bending all the way around him, and when he released it, it was just coming around at its max speed and that worked for him. But it's not long-winded to be sure. I would like to see him go through a fitting just the mere fact just to measure that club to see what it truly is, and then go from there. If it's truly what it is, yes, I would think with new modern because he's got to be swinging at his club head speed where some other stuff would have to work. But yeah, I'd like to see that one. Golf swings, greeting from Toronto. How are you, sir? Funny question. What's your worst score on a par 3? I had a 10 in my first round this season. Probably should have stopped counting after the double par. Well, I know I've taken as much as an 8. I've taken an 8, and I ping-ponged the living trash out of that damn thing. Just couldn't keep it on the green. Chip on, and of course it was one of those downhills, right? You chip up and it go up, and then it would come right back down. You had to get it on one spot and one spot only. And it cost me an 8. All righty. Adam Cattle, what do you say? From England, thank you so very much. Said my best round as a pro. As a pro? Nice. Last week, shot a 63. Ooh, you were on the way, bud. You keep shooting 63s like that, your name, we'll see your name on some bigger lists. Well done. Congratulations. All right. Shaft tipping question from Golf Swings. Graphite design Tour AD DIS driver. Shaft tipped by 1 inch. How much more stiff would it play than an untipped? Same playing length. How many sips? Thanks. Okay. I think about this one for a moment. Somewhere between a flex and a half and 2. All right, somewhere between a flex and a, all things created equal. If you tip it a half of an inch, let's just say you start with a stiff. If you tip it a half an, well, maybe a flex. That's probably right. Yeah, flex. So you tip it a half inch, you might go from a stiff to the middle of the stiff range. You tip another inch, it might go to the, or another half of an inch, and it goes to the very top of the stiff range, bottom of the X. That's where you would be.
I let you go over 10 minutes.
You did, didn't you?
Mhm.
All righty. All right, couple more. Got first hole in one yesterday playing with my son. On top of that, I was a club built. I built. Oh, that you built. Nice. Very well done. Congratulations, Todd. Very good. Nothing to be out there than with your kids or with your family. That's great. But not a problem, Dave. Anytime. There's somebody saying, hey, now they're working on a 105. That will be a board. But hey, if it gets it out there, good. Yep, I think we got you, buddy. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't see you on there, but I'm glad you did it. Chris Book, can't wait on his clubs. We are working on it, brother. We are working on it. All right. My buddy's playing a TaylorMade M4 type, 9.5 degrees with an even flow blue regular shaft, 45.25. We adjusted the hosel 2 degrees closed and upright, straightened out the ball flight quite a bit. Good for you. Good for you. I hope I answered it for you. I hope I answered what you were looking for. If not, just send me an email. Russ Ryden. Yeah, you're right. There's the guy. Russ Ryden. That's the one you're looking for. Yeah, I got you, buddy. Yep, we got that. She's okay. Seb, buddy, 86 mile an hour swing speed. What iron shaft considering a tour average is 92? What's 7 iron? I've got a fast tempo. Okay, so 70, 86, 96. So fast tempo. I would look at, there's a couple you could go with, okay? It just depends on the weight, but you could look at it's something in the Modus line, and I would probably get an S Flex, but I would soft step him one. You could also go with what is another good one? For more aggressive than the KBS is another good one for an aggressive swing. And they're just the regular tour model. And I would go again, I would do the same thing. 105 to standard and soft step it for you. That would be one. And then the last one I would try on is just to see whether or not you would like a lighter shaft. But they have those elevates and the 95 MPHs. I would try on that one as well. All righty. Oh, Eric Weaver, there's a new name. Built a set of 770s, P7070s, the Modus 130.
Had my P790s come 3/4 long, so I had to add length to the butt clubs to match the same length. Did I mess with the swing weight? No, not really. If you made it length, swing weight's really. I'll start talking English here. Swing weight is very length oriented as well. So no, you did all right. No, you're fine. Jeffrey Smith, thinking about tipping my driver. Since I need to take it down an inch anyway, should I make it a little stiffer? No, not really. That one I get a lot of that. I get that question quite a bit, Jeffrey. So flex is a condition of length versus cycles per minute. And so what you have is a graph that's length and cycles per minute, and then flex is running at about a 45. So one way or the other, if you go shorter, the cycles go up, and it just measures on that same line. Now there is out there that if you trip more butt, that it can get a little softer, and that is true too, but not by an appreciable amount. All righty. Here we go. Here we go. Well, thank you, sir. All righty. I got about 2 more, and then I got to get going. Here we go. For a fitting, do you swing weight based fitting or MRI based? I do swing weights. Here in South Korea, most fitters do swing weight based, but nowadays MOI. What about the US? So I would think that most people are mostly by swing weight because it's more known than MOI matching. Now, it's not becoming a prevalent thing. I know that some folks are doing it. It just really hasn't caught on. It's very nice, but it just hasn't caught on. Sebrick, okay. Nick Johnson, Nick's back. What do you say, buddy? I want to say, hope Jim and Rob are doing well. No, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dennis Hood looks like the Star Tour, less taper. There you go. Good job. All right, we're down to the bottom. Last one right here. Should wear fairway shafts be 10 grams heavier than a driver shaft? LS. Typically, I would go yes. Typically. And again, like we said, the best answer in golf is it depends. It depends. You can get some that are 60 grams, and you very well may hit the tar out of it. But as a whole, driver feels good, fairway feels good, the whole 9 yards. So you'll have a driver at 1, fairway wood at 10 gram heavier, and then even hybrid at 10 gram heavier than that. So that's where it typically goes. As a whole, typically, yes, very much so. Okay. Got only top, went a few minutes over. Miss McGolf didn't come and give me so she was having fun with that, I'm sure. So guys, thank you so very much. There is a video coming out, and it's about the testing I did with the shoes I didn't do them I did it for me, but it is the Squares shoes. I should have led with that, shouldn't I? So take a look at it at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. It should be released. Make sure you do the like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Check out the other social platforms. That would be awesome as well. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.